We are the ones who don't know what we're fighting for. Give us a gun and send us all off to war. We are the ones who grow up in violent homes. We are the ones who don't know what's right or wrong. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No more. We are the ones who don't know why we're losing score. Give them a badge so they could send us to the morgue. We are the ones who are scared to walk out the door. We are the ones who don't know what we're dying for. I know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No. Get off his fucking neck. Love that makes you know. He can't fucking breathe. Love that makes you know. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck now. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who are born into war. We are the ones. We are the ones. We are the ones who just don't give a fuck no more. No.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. Rule 34, Smurfette. No. Rule 34, Smurfette. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of appropriate ages, to the latest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the show where every armchair quarterback can feel like Eddie Bravo. Today, as like most days, I have got a glorious panel here with me to break down all the shit talking and the shenanigans, the fight announcements and fuckeries that have wiggled its way out of the MMA pipeline since we saw you wonderful folks last. Before we get into all the fun and fuckery, though, first and foremost, gentlemen, how the hell you doing over there?
I'm fucking fantastic. Just so we're all aware of who I am, I'm fucking TJ. Or right there. You can read it. If you can't read it, that's your own goddamn fault. Get it educated. No, we're fucking here. First pay-per-view of the year, and to be honest, it's a lot better than a lot of the trash pay-per-views they offered us last year.
Yes,
so
sir.
I'm gonna take it without bitching too much.
Chris, Slowbag 420, fucking glad that we got last weekend to be better than what we thought. I'm glad that this pay-per-view is looking better than most. So it's good shit. Should be some fun stuff to talk about. I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Damn good pay-per-view. Best one of the year so far. But we'll get into that a little bit later. First and foremost, the way we like to kick things off around here with a little bit of news and recent events, fight cancellations, fight confirmations, rumors that have been confirmed or officially denied, things that are relevant in the combat sports world that we feel you fine folks need to be aware of. First and foremost here, we've got kind of a big one because it started last week and has kind of bounced around a little bit throughout the course of the week. Last weekend, a video emerged of kind of a double-sided shocking event. The first thing was that Khabib was flying with his team in economy on Frontier Airlines. That's kind of strange unto itself. You don't see that very often, but the part that really made it stand out was that Khabib, after telling the flight attendants that he was ready and capable to take care of his duties in the exit row, since he was in an exit row, apparently got into a confrontation, and the flight crew decided they did not want him in that flight row and wanted to kick him off the plane because he did not want to move after agreeing to do what they asked him to do, sitting in the exit row. They ended up kicking him off the plane and completely refunding him and apologizing and saying that there was nothing racially or ethnically motivated about the incident. Go watch the video is what I'll say. Go watch the video. I have very, very Caucasian skin, and even I can see through the bullshit in that fucking statement. So that being said, back to a little more relevant information here. We got a couple of announcements, excuse me, tying into this weekend's card that we will start off with. First and foremost, we got word this week that Johnny Walker has suffered a quote unquote bad injury, the details of which have not been released, but that he is out of the fight this weekend against Bogdan. Luckily enough, the UFC was able to whisk a little magic together and pulled up the debuting fighter Billy Elekna, who will step in on 4 days' notice to take on Bogdan Guskov this weekend at 311. So props to both of those gentlemen. Always respect for last minute fucking cancellations and short notice fights getting taken like this. And then we had another one that is kind of less sad. Cedric Dumas is out for undisclosed reasons, will not make it this weekend against Zach Reese. But luckily for Zach Reese, the UFC once again pulled up some magic and called Azamat Bekioff from LFA, one of their champions, up to the pros, and he accepted on 3 days' notice. So we will see that fight play out this weekend. Props to both of those gentlemen as well for being badasses and taking short notice fights like that. A couple of announcements kind of around the sports world, the combat sports world in general here. Miami, January 24th will be Karate Combat 26, and they have confirmed that there will be a fight between Eileen Pereira, Shama herself, the sister, and Giselle Luna from Argentina, another accredited combat striker. If you missed the debut of Alex Pereira's sister in Karate Combat a couple months ago, do yourself a favor and go watch it. It's only a few minutes long. You don't need much time, but you will absolutely see in that video that fucking left hand from hell is genetic. They both have it, and it is fucking identical and scary. So definitely stoked to see what she can do on this next outing for Karate Combat, because I don't think it's going to be long before the UFC tries to snag her up if they're smart. That being said, back on the UFC side of things, UFC Vegas 103 will be taking place March 1st live from the Apex. The card will be headlined by Brandon Royval versus Manel Kopp in the main event. Co-main event will be the return of Steve Usyk versus Aza Almabayev. Definitely great fucking fights. They are starting to announce the majority of that card. I think they said there's 2 more fights still yet to be announced, but that is looking to be one of the stronger fight night cards of 2025 so far. There's some damn good fights on that one, top to bottom. Kind of a weird bag of news from the other side of the street in terms of punchy kicky world here. PFL had a slew of announcements this week, and some of them were good and some of them were, well, very PFL. The first one that they announced, after I believe it's been 3 months now of publicly asking for his release and complaining about how horrible he and other champions and just fighters in general are being treated by the PFL staff as Bellator fighters, Don Davis this week officially granted Patricio Pitbull his release and let him out of his contract from PFL. Pitbull immediately started calling out Alexander Volkanovski, trying to get into the UFC and get himself right into title contention. I don't know if he will get picked up by the UFC just because of his age and the contract cost it would be to pick up someone of his value. Not to mention the fact that he is 39 years old right now, and realistically, as good as he is or may have been, those miles left on the tires are few and far between. So it would be an actual risk to pick him up at this point and put him right into top level contention in the UFC. But we've seen Dana make much dumber moves than that. So that one will definitely be one we will have to keep an eye on as it shakes out. The other half of the PFL announcement, as it were, excuse me, was kind of a mixed bag. So the first thing that they announced is that they are officially doing away with the quote unquote fight season and the playoffs and the nonsense and the bullshit. It didn't work well. They recognized that it didn't work well. So they're throwing that shit out the window. The thing that they are doing to replace it is going back to single elimination style tournaments in place of a season. The tournament will still last all year long, just like the season did, but it is now single elimination. When you move on, lose, you're out. The other thing that goes along with that, in moving from the season to an actual tournament bracket format like this, they have announced that they are reducing their prize money. So they are no longer having $1 million per division season playoff. They are now going to be having a $500,000 single elimination tournament for every weight class. Interesting to see how that's going to play out for sure. But the other thing that they announced that's kind of the bigger piece of this puzzle is that there will be no more Bellator events. Bellator MMA is effectively, professionally dead. The fighters have now been absorbed officially into the PFL roster. Some of them, like Pitbull and Patricky Pitbull and Patchy Mix, are still having a very tough public time getting those contracts worked out, but they have now officially absorbed or are in the process of absorbing all Bellator fighters and have officially canceled any further Bellator events. They had a good run, but this is kind of what we all thought was going to happen when they first started talking about PFL buying out Bellator. And it seems like that time has come. It's kind of like a lot of us had thought that there was probably a sunset clause on the contract, that they had to put out so many more Bellator events in such amount of time before they could dissolve or rebrand it. And those events have been played and that time has passed. So tip of the cap to Bellator MMA. It was a damn good run. I think Bellator was leaps and bounds better than anything PFL has shown us so far, but we will see how far that Turkey Al Sheikh money can help carry them from this point. That being said, we got kind of an interesting one here. We talked about it a little bit last week. We got a little bit more information on it this week. The GFL, or the Global Fight League, has officially announced their last 2 signees and the official cities for the inaugural season, with the coaches that go, the coaches and managers for each city to go along with them. The final signing for the GFL was manager Shogun Hua and fighter Yoel Romero. So that brings the official total for GFL's roster to Los Angeles, which will be managed by Vanderlei Silva with coach Rafael Cordero. New York, still no manager officially assigned, but the coach will be Ray Longo, which is a little odd. Miami, the manager will be Thiago Alves with coach Conan Silveira. Interesting. Sao Paulo, Brazil, the manager will be Lyoto the Dragon Machida with coach Andre Perdoneris. London will be manager Luke Barnett with coach Carl Prince. Makes sense. And then the last one that they announced, Dubai will be managed by Cain Velasquez with coach Javier Mendez. I'm not sure how exactly they have got managers and coaches to these cities assigned out. I'm hoping we get a little more explanation to that as we get a little closer to their expected first date in April that they're saying the first show should be scheduled. I don't know, man. GFL is looking pretty sketchy, but we'll see how that goes as we get a little closer on. Kind of a last minute announcement. They just announced it this morning here. When it comes to Saturday evening in LA for UFC 311, there is a couple of big announcements here that kind of got swept by the wayside. The first one, former fighter Frank Trigg will be refereeing approximately half of the matches Saturday, including the co-main event. And none other than Chris Lieben will be judging about half of Saturday's cards, including the main event itself. So we have some former fighter royalty, in my opinion, here, not only working, we've mentioned it before, I fucking love that Frank Trigg is a referee, and he does a damn good job of it. And now we've got Chris Lieben working on the judges side of things, knowing damn good from a fighter's perspective what should and shouldn't be judged when it comes to MMA. So we might actually see believable and justifiable cards and stoppages and or lack of stoppages when it comes to the fights we're going to get in UFC 311 Saturday, and I am fucking here for it for a change.
I'm glad that it's happening that way. What I'm most excited about is to see how skewed the results are from a former fighter judge to the other judges who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground and have probably never been punched in the fucking face in their life.
I wondered about that as well, because the good thing about these is, especially with the pay-per-view cards, literally minutes after the fight is over, those official scorecards are posted online for all of us to be able to see and critique. And I am absolutely curious as well in a situation where we've got Lieben sitting there next to two other people who have no fucking
it's going to be very, if something is skewed fucked up, it's going to be very eye-opening to the entirety of the MMA community that will look at it and go, we really need to figure out something about the judging if there's something really fucked up. Because we've all seen some fucked up cards where you're going, how did you score that way? It doesn't make any fucking sense. So I have a feeling we're going to get some good what I'll call positive feedback off of this, even if there's some fucked up judging.
Well, and the other side of that as well is that this is taking place in Los Angeles under the jurisdiction of Andy Foster and the California State Athletic Commissions, one of the genuine few honest and bona fide good athletic commissions left in the United States right now from a fight fan's point of view. Andy Foster is leading the fucking charge in accountability and credibility in terms of athletic commissions. And this is all taking place under his watchful fucking eye this weekend. So if there is some fuckery, it will not only be blatant, but it will be happening in a situation, or in a place rather, where someone might actually be able to fucking do something about it for a change. So fingers crossed for potential precedent being set this weekend for damn sure. The last little bit that I've got here in terms of news is kind of a, it's a weird trio is what I'll call it here. The first one we got was Tyson Fury, after the very, very discerning second loss to Alexander Usyk, has officially decided to retire from combat sports again. This is very similar to how it happened the first time, when he went from being undefeated to not feeling what he was doing anymore, kind of lost his spark, and then he retired and he went crazy for a little while and he got bored and found his fucking spark again, and then run on the run that we just saw, and now it seems that he's lost that spark again. So yes, there is a genuine chance that at his age, at his career point, this could actually be the last time we've seen Tyson Fury lace the gloves up. But while he was also technically quote unquote retired last time, he also went to Thailand and had fun with Fight Circus and punched in through midgets and all sorts of ridiculousness. And that seemed to at least have a part to play in revitalizing that spark. And now that he's quote unquote retired, I'd be willing to bet every penny in my piggy bank that John Nutt is salivating over his phone trying to get Tyson back over to Phuket again. So we'll see how it plays out. If this is indeed genuinely the last time that we saw Tyson Fury lace up his gloves and step into the squared circle, absolute tip of the cap. The man is a genuine living legend and did some things that not only did people not think he could do, will probably never be replicated in some situations. The Undertaker fucking sit up from the Wilder fight. There's never been anything like that in boxing, and I don't know that we'll see something like that anytime soon, if ever again. So absolute tip of the cap to Tyson Fury for what he did give to us. That being said, we've got a pair of kind of less interesting ones, or not less interesting, but less clear news pieces here. The first one, in probably the most unceremonious way I have ever fucking seen, after 19 years with the promotion, tied for several of the highest fucking records in the organization, Clay the Carpenter Guida has officially and quietly been removed from the UFC roster. There were talks that he might retire after the last fight, but he honestly looked pretty fucking good and said himself he didn't think that he was going to retire, that he was going to go back and think about it. And it seems like the UFC has taken that choice out of his hands, which sucks, because very much like we talked about a little while ago with Pitbull, Clay Guida is not a spring chicken. And even if there are still some miles left on those tires, there's not a lot. And what has been run up till now is not all highway miles. So it's kind of fucked up, but it is interesting to see how this one is going to play out here. I genuinely, and I know this might sound snarky and I don't give a shit, but I genuinely, honestly, from the depths of my fucking heart, hope with every fiber of my being that we do not see Clay Guida end up in fucking BKFC, because I guarantee you the second his name came off that UFC roster, David Feldman and Conor McGregor started sending text messages. I hope with everything I can hope with that does not fucking happen, but we will obviously keep our eyes peeled and keep you guys updated as much as we get updated.
You know, the unfortunate part is they released him a little too late. We didn't get to see him go over to GFL.
Right?
Because that would have been, I think, a great spot for him. Because you've got a bunch of fighters in there that are at that very tail end of the career, and that's a great spot for him to land, but it just didn't happen to work out that way.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be weird to see how the Clay Guida story actually goes from here, but you can bet your ass we'll be paying attention. Excuse me. Last one I've got here. It happened so quickly and so quietly. I'm almost more surprised that it happened than I am that it didn't get hardly any media coverage when it did. But during the course of this last week, Holly Holm asked for her release and the UFC granted it. Holly Holm has officially been released from her UFC contract and is no longer a UFC fighter. There have been no official words as to if she's looking to go test free agency in another organization. Maybe she's talking about going back to boxing. Maybe she's going to go do karate combat. There is no word whatsoever. The only thing that is official as of right now, Holly Holm requested her release and the UFC granted it. So that's definitely a story that is going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And I'm sure her journey is not over yet, but it's just kind of weird the way that it all came about. So it's definitely going to be something that we will keep track of for sure, as much as we can anyway.
I'd say I'd shed a tear over that, but I'd be lying. I'm just glad to know that it's not going to be Holly Holm wins a fight and gets another title shot.
Or loses a fight and gets a title shot.
That too.
Yeah, no, I agree. But that is what I have got for news this week. Either one of you gentlemen have anything I might have missed?
No, you got everything I would have thought about right now.
All right. So, because I keep forgetting, I'm going to remember this week, and I'm going to give you fine folks the combat sports menu of the weekend, because more often than not, there is many, many more things going on over the course of a weekend in terms of combat sports than just the UFC. And I like to make sure that everyone, at least paying attention here, knows about all the goodness that is there besides the UFC. That being said, the only fight card taking place this weekend is UFC 311, going down Saturday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. That being said, that'll bring us into the next part of the show. If you've been watching combat sports as long as some of us have been watching combat sports, then you pretty much know what you like to watch and when it comes on and how to find it. And you pretty much get set in your ways, and you start to develop some metaphorical blinders. You start to lose the forest for the trees, if you were. Well, luckily for us here on the I'm No Joe podcast, we have ourselves a young person that is always vigilantly out there, diligently fingering the pulse of the MMA world to help keep us abreast of all the names that are going to be names before they even get to be names, in a little segment that we call Slows, Cans, and Contenders.
Appreciate you, brother. So, like I always like to start off and throw shit away, just get that trash taken out. I was gonna throw the Zach Reese and Cedricus Dumas fight in the trash. I'm still throwing the Zach Reese fight in the trash because the dude's still fighting, but Dumas pulled out for whatever fucking reason. I also read that he deleted all his social media and shit. Wouldn't be surprised if the motherfucker wound up getting arrested again for beating a woman. Dude's done that a few different times. He's a piece of shit, so there's no surprise at all that he pulled out of this fight, but the fight's still nothing to fucking be excited for. Ricky Tercios, Bernardo Sapai, they throw that one in the trash as well. Even though Ricky fucking won the Ultimate Fighter a few years ago, he hasn't done anything good since he's gotten into the UFC. And Bernardo Sapai getting knocked out like he did. Don't know if that kid's gonna fucking look any better in his fight either. This might just be a boring fucking fight you can scratch off this card. One that I know for sure you can scratch off. You just go do something else, waste some fucking time. Carol Rosa and Aileen Perez. Best thing you're going to get out of that fight is some ass shaking. I mean, it's not the world's greatest ass. It's big ass, but she's also not the greatest at shaking that ass, but you're going to see that. You could throw Jamal Hill and Bogdan Guskov. I don't think Bogdan Guskov is one of those what I'd consider contenders coming up in the light heavyweight division. That fight against Johnny Walker wasn't going to be anything great. Now that Johnny Walker pulled out, it's just even worse. It's the same situation with the Zach Reese fight. I like Kevin Holland. The kid is funny. He's active as hell. But you could honestly throw that fight in the trash. The way that Renier de Ritter looked against GM3 in his debut in the UFC, he was getting his ass whooped. He was going to lose that fucking fight, and he got lucky getting that fucking finish at the end of it. He's probably going to get his ass whooped by Kevin Holland in this one, I would expect. If Kevin's not on his game, though, then it's just going to be a fucking boring snooze fest. So that's one I honestly just wanted. You can't sugarcoat it, even though it's how we're starting off the main card. Could be a damn good start to the main, but might just be a really shit start. Two fucking Schrodinger's contenders. I got two dudes on the fence, Halton Almeida and Yuri Prohashka. Both of them haven't looked necessarily the greatest lately, but with Halton Almeida getting knocked out last year by Curtis Blades and Yuri Prohashka losing 2 out of the last 3, getting knocked out by Alex Pereira, both of those. But they both have the potential, in my opinion, to bounce back. Fucking Halton Almeida is still pretty damn young. That kid is talented. You know, he's a grappler more than he's got the striking ability, but he's got the chance to work his way through that heavyweight division. Yuri Prohashka, you know, if he can fucking work on his defense, keep his fucking hands up, and not try to be as crazy and as ballsy as he has been before, then he's a good fucking fighter. He's just got to have some fight IQ mixed in there, and his ass can be a contender no different than he has been, especially with the light heavyweight division being the fucking mess it is. He can easily get a third fight against Alex or get his way back in that mix. I got them on the fence. Contenders to look out for, though. You got Rinya Nakamura. Fucking excited for that kid. Looking forward to seeing how he does this weekend. It's going to be a little bit of a tough matchup for him. The guy he's fighting, Moin Gafarov, is one of those grappling types. So is he going to be able to actually keep it standing, work his game, and use his strengths to his favor? Maybe get a knockout? I don't know. It's going to be a tough one for him. You got Clayton Carpenter and Peyton Talbot, another couple of young kids I'm really excited about. Both of them have potentials to work their way up towards the rankings. Clayton Carpenter at this flyweight division is kind of weak, so he beats Ulanbekov this weekend, and I think that does throw him in the top 15. So I'm excited to see what Carpenter fucking does. And then Talbot, I think this is going to be his breakout year. He's my breakout fighter of this fucking year. I think that kid is going to be special. So yeah, I also liked him being humble this week, talking in the media. You're like just already throwing it out there. He's like, I'm gonna age like fucking milk, you know. He already knows the MMA sphere. He's like, people are loving me now. People are gonna fucking hate me at some point. It is what it is. Like he don't care. He's literally just like he loves to fucking compete. He loves the sport. He likes to fight. Kid's really fucking humble. He seems kind of emotionless most of the fucking time, and I just like him. I like the kid a lot. I'm excited to see what he continues to do. You got the fucking co-main event, main event. Both of those fights, I feel like, are the best fights on the entire card, just because Marab and Umar and Islam and Arman, all four of those guys have such incredible gas tanks, and they're also so well rounded. So we have the ability to see two 5-round exciting back and forth wars. Or, you know, maybe the co-main event's not as much of a war if Marab is controlling the fight, because he's never been that same aggressive guy pouring out the offense. But Umar is more of a fucking striker. He's not like Habib was, where he's just going to try to control with the grappling. Even Islam's the same. We've seen Islam fucking knock out Volkanovski. Like, these fights have the potential to be really fucking exciting. And Money Moicano, Grant Dawson, two other guys, I gotta say, have that potential to fucking be contenders. Grant Dawson continues to add some exciting wins together. He's gonna work his way back up towards the rankings, and Moicano goes out there and beats the shit out of fucking Dariush like he did to Benoit Saint Denis. Everybody above him is somebody that has already fought for the title multiple times, or Islam's already fucking wiped through. At that point, he's literally like right there. I mean, it's him and Dan Hooker. In all honesty, those are the only two dudes in the lightweight division at that point that you could say have a chance of being like the next in line. So it's exciting as hell. Love to hear what you boys got. There's definitely a lot of exciting shit, more so than normal on this fucking card. There's definitely some shit you would throw away in the trash too. It's kind of half and half.
You know, I'm not surprised that we finally got a decent card, because they fed us shit the last 6 months and told us it was gold. So we finally get a decent card. Don't get me wrong, there is still some bullshit on here. Don't get me wrong. We're going to get gratuitous ass on here, just like we did last week. But that seems to be their play. You get one gratuitous ass shots for fucking 15 minutes. then back to your normally scheduled programming. So Cara Rosa, clean press. Go if you have time, go grab yourself your bottle of lube, whatever you're gonna do. If you're into that kind of thing, it might be that time. Sit in front of the TV, just make sure nobody else is in the room with you. Because if you've got kids, that is not the right time to do that. I'm just letting you know. But no, that fight, trashing it, don't give a shit. The obvious fucking can, and we've all said it, is Ricky Tercios. That dude has not shown any potential since coming off of the Ultimate Fighter. He looked like he could possibly have some on the Ultimate Fighter, but then again, that's the Ultimate Fighter. We're not back in the days of fucking the Ultimate Fighter season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where we were getting legitimately good fighters at the time. Now it's just like, oh, we'll throw this together just so we can set up this other fight between these coaches at a later date. Also, which brings me back around to this since I'm on it. Make the coaches fight at the same fucking time the Ultimate Fighter finale is, like back in the day. Don't make it pay-per-view. Put them bitches on a regular card. So if you want a title fight where you're going to have fucking whoever and whoever be their coaches, one holds the title, that title fight should happen at the same time as the Ultimate Fighter fucking finale. Period. All right, that's out of my system. We're moving on. So also, by the way, Ultimate Fighter in the trash at this point. It's not good anymore. They need to come up with a new way. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad they're still figuring out ways to bring people in the UFC, but whatever. I'm gonna go out here on a limb, and some people may not agree with me, and I don't care. Tajiri Ulanbekov, I think is a can. I don't think he's that good. How he's in the top 15 rankings, I do not fucking know. I think this is time for Clayton Carpenter to shine, bring himself back up there. Now, none of them done really ragging on cans that I wanted to rag on here. Well, there's others, but I just don't, they're not worth my fucking time. Rinya Nakamura, excited to see him fight again. He's been a breath of fresh air coming out of Japan. We need a good Japanese fucking fighter in the mix. It's been a long time for that. I'm no, we're not doing it. We're not fucking doing it. We're not doing it. Peyton Talbot, obviously, contender all the fucking way. We've seen it from the start of his UFC career all the way to where we're at. He's finishing everybody fucking quicker than shit. So there are some contenders on here. And one of my contenders is Kevin Holland. Depends on which Kevin Holland shows up. If it's a Kevin Holland that's ready to fight and do his thing, listen to what his coaches are telling him, he's great. When he doesn't listen to his coaches, you can tell. Because then he's laying on his back going, hey, man, talking while he's getting his ass whipped. And I want to make this very clear. I'm a big fan of fucking Kevin Holland. The dude as a whole is a great fucking human being. And to be honest, he's an exciting fighter most of the time. Who else are you going to see fucking knock Jacare Souza out from their fucking back? Contender. Also, another one, this is going to be quite controversial. Other contender, Hanato Moicano. The reason for this is, yes, he's shown up lately in his last few fights out, but he's also talked his way into fights that he hasn't deserved, and he showed up. But I really still don't think he's as good as everybody thinks he is right now. He's putting in the work, to his credit, but he's putting in more work on the mic, making sure he's getting paid. And to his credit, that's your fucking job. Get that money, dude. But I still don't think he's as good as everyone thinks he is. And he's going to have a tough task ahead of him in Beneil Dariush. Beneil Dariush is no fucking walk in the park for anybody. Well, there's been a few, but they're very few and far between. Generally, those are the fucking champions, a la fucking Islam Makhachev. Contender fight as a whole. Yuri Prochazka and Jamal Hill. I don't see this as being as exciting as everyone thinks it will be. Both of these guys have fucking gotten their shit kicked in by the current champ. And when I say got their shit kicked in, they both were knocked out. Yuri's been knocked out twice. Fucking Jamal once. Both of them been injured lately. It's kind of toss up. So I'm putting in a contender because there's a possibility it could be a really good fight. We know Yuri's fucking weird and does some weird shit in the cage, but that's why he's fun to watch. That doesn't necessarily make him great. Yes, he's been the champ, and to his credit, he also relinquished the fucking crown when he got fucking injured instead of holding up the division, which, in my opinion, still makes him one of the greatest light heavyweights of all time in the UFC for doing something that no other champs do when they get injured. That dude is the epitome of what I think this sport should be. Jamal Hill still talks a lot of shit. Even after getting shit kicked in, still thinks he can go in there and win a fight. I don't think we're going to see him become champion, and at least not while Pereira is still there. So that's why I'm like, this one's kind of wishy-washy. It's not so much because of the way the fight could play out, but I just don't. It's contender because I don't think it really fucking matters in the grand scheme of things. Neither one of them are going to beat Pereira. We need somebody else to come up in there and figure some shit out. That's all I'm saying. Can fight as a whole. People might argue with this, the co-main event. The reason for that, I like Merab, but he's a boring ass fucking fighter. Umar's talked a whole lot of shit on the way here. I have a feeling it's going to be a wrestle fuck fest. Even with Umar being more of a striker, Merab's fought strikers, manages to take them all down and fucking hold them down. Look at Sugar Sean, he fucking put him on his back, rode him out for 5 fucking rounds. I think we're going to see the same thing with Umar. I could be wrong. Umar could catch him, but I still think it's going to be a fuckfest. So I'm throwing it in the can category, not because it's a title fight, but because the way I think it's going to play out. There's we could throw can tender and say something crazy fucking happens, but Merab's if you watch every one of his fights, they play out the same way 9 times out of 10. The only thing that got him into the UFC was a crazy ass fucking knockout in like 15 fucking seconds. And we haven't seen him do that shit since, or anything close to that shit since. But I'm sticking with that tonight. Like I said, there's some other ones I don't want to talk about just because they irritate me more than anything. So, but as a whole, this fight card is a lot better than what we've gotten recently, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I agree. This, just as a card in general, take away the fact that it's a pay-per-view, just as a whole, this card is better than probably anything we got in the last 6 months, with the exception of a few fights here and there. As a whole, this card is better than anything we got from the UFC in the last 6 months, easily. That being said, it ain't all sunshine and roses either. There's still some filler bullshit on this card, just like there is on any UFC card. Minimal here, though. I will say minimal. You guys pretty much already covered it, but the one that I will say is absolutely the can, pretty much unanimously, is Ricky versus Bernardo. There's no reason that fight needed to be made the first time. There's no reason it needed to be rebooked. There's absolutely no reason it's on a pay-per-view. Get that fucking out of here. I don't have a contender, but I will say my contender fight of the card is Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. Grant Dawson is on a fucking hell of a tear right now, and Diego Ferreira might not necessarily be a world breaker, but he is one of the most consistent and well-rounded fighters the UFC has kept on the roster for quite some time. He really doesn't have any big deficiencies anywhere. He's gotten caught a couple times just like everybody has, but it's not like he's got a gaping hole in his fucking strategy or his game plan that you can always go after. He's never an easy fight for anybody, and we've seen what Grant's been capable of, so I'm very curious to see how that fight shakes out for damn sure.
Where your head's at, man? It's all adding up very nicely.
Appreciate you, boys.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So that'll bring us to the point in the show where normally you'd be getting some kind of bullshit B-roll fucking ad for some product that has nothing to do with the fucking show or something that no one on the show has ever even fucking used. Yeah, we don't deal with that kind of shit. No Blue Chew here. We don't fuck around like that. The I'm No Joe podcast is sponsored by viewers like you. If you would like to help out the I'm No Joe podcast and all of the shit talking and the shenaniganery we get up to around here, for as little as $1 a month, you can go over to patreon.com/ImNoJoe. In exchange for as little as that one measly dollar a month, we will give you first and foremost on the end of every single broadcast on this channel, your name scrolled across as a patron to let everyone know how awesome you are for helping us do all the shit that we get up to. But even more than that, we give you in exchange for that support unrestricted access to the behind the scenes, the unaired and the unairable content, things that may or may not have gotten us kicked off of OnlyFans, but things that we keep as a thank you to those who help us do what we do. As little as $1, as much as you want to give, patreon.com/ImNoJoe. That being said, that brings us to the only segment on the podcast that actually requires its own disclaimer. So if you will, Tapology.com does not in any way, shape, or form support, sponsor, or endorse the I'm No Joe podcast. Yet. That being said, Tapology.com does offer you the option to go onto their site, create a free account, and make fantasy style MMA picks like we do here on the show. They even let you make groups. So we made one. We call it ImNoBookie, all one word, or group 965, however you need to find it. The group is open to the public. You are welcome and encouraged. Make yourself an account, join up, and let us know who the hell you are so we can hold your picks accountable along with our picks in a little segment that we call Tapology with TJ.
So we're gonna jump right into this here. Right from last week. What I'm going to call the main event of the gratuitous ass shot, which, to be honest, was a way better fight than I was expecting it to be. Not saying it was a world breaker fight, but it was much better than what I was expecting. Now, with all of that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and do this right now. Attaboy, attaboy, attaboy. I'm patting myself on the fucking back. 9-14 correct last week. Yeah, you can play your IQ all you want. It doesn't bother me any. 9-14 correct, 580 points. In a close second, 9-14 correct also, but 545 was Donna. Donna was close behind me, but she couldn't get a perfect pick to save her fucking ass. I'm telling you what, it was the last fight that put me over the edge because I managed to call it exactly on the fucking nose, which is crazy because Mackenzie Dern hasn't had a fucking sub in like 3 years or something. And I was like, I have a feeling she's going to sub her, but like third round, it's going to take her tail and wear her out a little bit. Fucking happened. Armbar right at the last second. Now, with all of that being said, as I'm attaboying myself, let me tell you what, there was a firefight for last fucking place. An absolute four-way firefight. The difference between the last four was 50 fucking points. Now, with that being said, the two at the bottom managed to go sub 50%. But also so did that guy in the middle of the road who was 50 points higher than the bottom, sub 50% on picks. He just happened to get a couple of perfects. That was the difference maker. Now, the reason why we got IQ checked over here is because somebody decided to shit the bed, trip over their dick, and now they're mad about it and throwing a fit. Instead of just rolling it up, putting it back in their pants, they're going to make excuses like, my IQ is only 1. It's not my fault. Do better. You know, for a guy who runs an MMA podcast, you would figure he wouldn't trip over his dick when he's making picks. But that shit happens. I have a feeling instead of actually picking what was probably going to happen, somebody decided to pick with their widow heart, and now it's broken on the side of the road.
I was just trying to lead by example to show that it's not the end of the world if you really fuck up a card.
Fair enough. I can't be mad about that. Congratulations on teaching everybody a valuable lesson in life. Now, with all that being said, all those jokes aside, if you haven't joined Tapology, please do come over and join us. It's fucking free. I know you motherfuckers like free shit. You're listening to us for free. Because if you were paying us, I'd be on fucking payroll right now. But I'm not on payroll. So you're listening for free. Come join us for free. Play for free. Tell us who you are. We'll attaboy you when you do well. And then I'm going to give you hell when you really shit the bed. That's just how that works. You know, if you don't want to be part of that, oh, that's a great fucking gift, by the way. Got the stream up and I just saw it roll away. That's fucking beautiful. Love it. Now, if you don't want us to know who you are and you just want to see how you stack up against us, by all means, just join the group. ImNoBookie, group 965. You don't have to tell us who you are if you don't want to, but if you want to get in on it, by all means, let us know who you are. And if you're somebody in chat and you use the same username, know that I'm going to call your ass out because I know the same fucking username. So if you're trying to come in here all delinquent and quiet and shit, you better have a different username because it's really easy to tell because we do watch the chat around here. I'm just saying. Now, with all that being said, let's go and take a look at our Grand Prix. I think we only have 3 events remaining, including this fucking week. Right now, Donna is steadily holding on to the lead. I gained a little bit of ground, but not much on her. She's sitting at 4,455. I'm at 4,185. Christian's not far behind me at 3,995. And we've got the guy who even shits the bed, still sitting at 3,670. Vindog still holding out from being bottom there at 3,400 exactly. And Don, the shit the bed master of this Grand Prix right now, 3,045. I hate to tell him, but in the next 3 weeks, or in the next 3 events, there's no way you're getting first place. You might be able to scrape out of the bottom spot in this, but we'll see. Now, with all that, again, join us on Tapology. It's fucking free. If you want in before the next Grand Prix, the last event is February 8th, UFC 312 in Sydney. So you have till February, probably till February 8th, and then we'll set up a new one. So if you want to come in, join the Grand Prix as well as just the fucking group from on a week to week, let us know who you are. We'll get you in there. Oh, on the other side of this, we're going to go over to the wonderful odds from this week. And I want to make it very clear, as per usual, I'm using BetMGM's odds. I'm not looking anywhere else. I'm not looking at the fucking UFC website. So what I'm looking at here may differ from what you see on the website or fucking FanDuel or DraftKings or Caesars or wherever the fuck else you might actually place a bet. Your local Joe Casino and bumfuck nowhere is going to have way different odds than this. Or, well, it should be similar because they'll probably group all those together and go, oh, this is about right. Because most of them aren't smart enough to have their own fucking bookies. So we're going to start here with some of the wider odds on the card because there's, again, like I said, this is a pretty good card overall. So there's quite a few that are pretty close to coin flips. But we're going to just hit the highlights here and then hit the co-main and main as per usual. I'm going to start with Jailton Almeida and Sergey the Polar Bear Spivak. We got Jailton coming in at a minus 500 favorite. The Polar Bear coming in as a plus 360 underdog currently. And now those odds are subject to change over the next couple of days, but that's how they are sitting. So I wouldn't expect them to sway too much. You got a couple others that are I won't say super wide. They've all got pretty much the same bet line, so I'm just gonna knock them out very quickly. And there it's a minus 200, or excuse me, a minus 250 plus 200. The trash fight of Eileen Perez and Carol Rosa. We got as a minus 250 for Rosa. Perez is a plus 200. Um, Diego Ferreira and Grant Dawson. Dawson is a minus 250. Ferreira is a plus 200 in the underdog category there. Another one that's semi close to that here. What I like to call the heavier untattooed version of Anthony Smith in Bogdan Guskov and fucking Billy. They've got Guskov coming in as a minus 350, Billy getting that plus 260 underdog. Now, to the surprise of absolutely fucking nobody, unless you've been living under a rock for the last fucking couple of years since Peyton Talbot has made his grand entrance into the UFC, Peyton Talbot is the biggest favorite on this fucking card. Barcelos, I'm sorry to tell you, man, but you got a tall fucking task ahead of you. Peyton Talbot coming in as a minus 1,200 favorite over a plus 725 in Barcelos. Like I said, to the absolute surprise of nobody right now, because the way Talbot is fucking running through people and just absolutely decimating the competition, of course he deserves those type of odds. Until he proves otherwise that he can't be trusted, they will continue to give him those types of odds, or at least until they actually finally start giving him some credible fucking people to fight against. I mean, look at what they've done with Bo Nickel. They finally gave him someone credible to fight against, and he was still a crazily fucking favored fight in that. And because he managed to manage that fight so well, I think he's going to continue that same route. So as long as Peyton Talbot does the same thing, we'll continue to see that out of him. But that is the widest on card. Like I said, the rest of these are all pretty close to coin flips, so I'm not going to touch on them. But we are going to cover the co-main and the main as per usual. So you got Merab and Umar here. Surprisingly enough, the champ is coming in as the underdog. Dvalishvili coming in as a plus 220 underdog. Nurmagomedov coming in as a minus 275 favorite. Not super wide odds, but they're fairly wide. And knowing that the underdog is the current champ, I think I have a feeling a lot of that has to do with they think he's going to get caught before he gets it to the ground, or they think Umar has just enough wrestling to stop. But who knows? We will see come Saturday. Now, the main event in Arman Tsarukyan taking on the champion Islam Makhachev. To the surprise of no one, Makhachev coming in as the favorite at a minus 375, and Arman Tsarukyan coming in as a plus 280. So a little wider than the co-main, but not by much. What throws me off here is Arman put up one hell of a fight the first time they fought, and he's gotten a lot better since then. On the other side of that coin, Islam has also gotten a lot fucking better since that fight too. So it's going to be, I think that's probably going to be one of the funnest fights, just purely on what we know happened the last time versus what's going to happen this time. I think the odds makers are pretty close to spot on. I think they might have been able to tighten them up a little bit, but I like the little bit wider odds there. That covers the odds that you need to know for this week. Anything else, we will talk about it next week if something fucking crazy happens. Watch your prop bets, things like that, because like I said, there's a lot of coin flips this week. So if you're gonna do prop bets, those might be the play. Or you could do a couple parlays with a couple coin flippers and maybe win yourself a little bit of extra scratch that way. Now, I'm not telling anyone to go out and fucking gamble. I do not condone it, even though I do it myself, because it's a degenerate thing and I can be a degenerate from fucking time to time. And also, if you have a gambling problem, please seek help. Don't spend your fucking money. Spend it on other things like fucking titties and beer, those kind of things. At least you'll get something other than just cha-ching, and watch it all go bye-bye. But last thing on the way out, again, if you haven't joined Tapology, please come over and join us. It's a good time. You don't have to tell us who you are. We'll figure it out, though, especially if you're using the same fucking username, because those are kind of tall tale signs. But we'll see you guys all next. Actually, no, we have a week off, I think, don't we? Oh no, we have 2 weeks off. Oh no, yeah, shit. All right, well, we'll see you in fucking 2 weeks. That's fine by me. I like weeks off. That means I get to do something on Thursday. I might actually screw the old lady. It'll be a good time. All right. See y'all later.
Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated. So, with that being said, that will bring us to the point that if you're watching us live on YouTube or even the replay, you'll know by the terrifying GIF that is rolled across the screen that this is the point in the show where we dial back to ha-has and we get down to a little bit of fuck you. We take the fun and we bring it into a little bit of more competition, a little head-to-head, a little more grimy side of things. This, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is what we call the pit. That being said, we've got a pay-per-view, so we are going to have us a little competition. So, Golf T, I see you smirking over there. Are you ready to judge?
I'm ready to do whatever needs to be done.
All right. Well, it's the first card of the year, so I'd be a horrible fucking host if I didn't step my fat ass in and lead by fucking example. And that kid over there has been too goddamn chipper. Time for a little smackdown. You ready, Christian?
Yes. Yeah, I'm good to go. Let's get it done.
That was a bit of a slow response. I was a little nervous you fell back asleep over there. Shit.
No, I'm getting
Huh.
close. That's why I said let's get her done.
All right. I'll rip the Benjamin a couple times.
So, in this case, Christian, what I'm going to do, because he is indeed the host of the show, I'm going to give you prerogative. Do you want to go first or second, Christian?
I'll go second.
Second. All right. We're going to start this off with a fun one here. We're going to go a little bit different than we normally do here. What I want to know is, this being the first pay-per-view card of the year, if there is a fight on this card that makes it worth telling somebody to, buy the pay-per-view, which fight do you think is worth it the most?
The only fight that's going to be, without question, without a doubt, guaranteed the biggest struggle of this entire event is going to be Dana White going to the press conference and not talking about how John Jones is the greatest fighter to ever live. That John Jones can walk into a room with anyone and John Jones is going to walk out. And if you don't have him as number one pound for pound on your list, what the fuck are you doing in this sport? Do we really have to bring AI in for this?
All right. Not the answer we were expecting, but it's an answer. Brave move. We'll see how that plays out for you. Christian, cross pond here. On this pay-per-view, which one of these makes it worth buying? If you're going to tell somebody this is the fight that makes this pay-per-view worth buying, which fight is it?
Well, it wouldn't be worth buying necessarily, but worth watching, because this is one of the free fights. I'd say the Peyton Talbot fight. The kid is literally one of the most exciting prospects in the UFC right now. I feel like it's one of the guaranteed finishes that we will get in the night. One of the exciting highlight moments, right? So anybody that's new to the UFC or the fights, anybody you wanted to get hyped up or introduced to MMA, that's, you bring them in to watch that one. I don't think that the people's main event with Yuri and Jamal Hill is going to fully be good. Like we were talking about earlier, it could be on the fence, swing either fucking directions. Peyton Talbot's the most exciting thing to me, but he's not on the main card, so you don't have to fucking pay for that. It just makes it even better.
Fair enough. Look at both of you guys trying the hard route. Neither one of y'all wanting to call a fight on the pay-per-view here. All right, that's fine. we'll go back to a normal question for you. Christian, ball's in your court now. Start around 2 here. Of all of the fights on the card, which one is the one that would make you turn off the TV first and say, this is not worth fucking watching? I'll go rub one out to fucking Gumby.
That one's pretty easy. Aileen Perez, Carol Rosa. I mean, some sad, lonely, desperate motherfuckers might be rubbing one out to that fight on its own just because of the ass shaking that's going to ensue. I mean, that's the only upside you might get out of this fight. But that's definitely one of those. I'd be trying to turn the TV off, go do something else, make something to eat, take those dabs, waste that time. Fight's not going to be worth a damn. The bantamweight division's so fucked up, and with Holly Holm fucking leaving, Aileen Perez will probably get some boring ass decision victory in that fight. Then she'll be in the potential top 10 of that division. It's going to be insane. Definitely not one that anybody should be watching.
All right. I can definitely understand that because I'm wholeheartedly a fan of that not being a great fight, but there is definitely gratuitous ass shot. So somebody might rub one out to that instead of going and finding themselves on a free site of a different type of nature, we'll say. That swings the ball back into your court there, Leader. Of all of the fights that are on this card, which one is so bad that you would say this is not a legitimate MMA fight that we should introduce people to the MMA world?
So while I agree that the Carol Rosa versus Aileen Perez fight both is going to be terrible and has virtually no fucking stakes because it's Perez going up to 35, which is an equally dead division right now. I'm going to give you a little more value than he did. I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 bonus. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't even need to turn on the prelims until the third fight starts, because until Rinya Nakamura starts walking out to the cage, you don't need to bother wasting your time. There is nothing that is going to happen in either of the first 2 fights on this card that is going to make or break how you feel about it as a whole or how your evening proceeds. I'm willing to bet you every penny in my piggy bank that ain't shit fun going to happen in either one of those first 2 fights. 2-for-1 bonus. How you like that?
Where your headset on that? That makes sense because, to be honest, I'm not so worried about watching Tajir. Not a fan. Clayton Carpenter, he's hit or miss. And we know Ricky is kind of a, shot in the fucking dark, we'll call it. So it definitely could be skip those 2 for starters. I like where your head's at there. That's going to bring us into here where we make our money in this business here. And by in this business, I mean in the podcast. We're going into the co-main event. Meet ball is in your court. With the co-main event that we have here, and Rob Dvalishvili and fucking Umar Nurmagomedov. How do you see this playing out? Who takes the W? Is it exciting? Is it going to be an exciting finish? Are we going to get a fucking just a decision? How do you see this playing out?
The biggest winner at the end of the co-main event Saturday night is going to be Breathe Right, because there's going to be so much crotch sniffing in that 25-minute window that the sinus gods will just feel as if the gates have opened for them and sponsorship money will just trickle down like snot manna from heaven. I don't see any way this fucking fight gets exciting as a whole. I am willing to bet that there will be a couple of moments where either Umar cracks Merab and everybody goes, oh, or Umar tries something and Merab puts him on his ass and everybody goes, oh, because you know that's how it's going to go. They don't call Merab the Machine for no fucking reason. I don't care who he is up against. He tries takedown after takedown after takedown after chain takedown after chain takedown after chain takedown until that 25-minute bell is up. Because I like Merab, but he's not a finisher. What he is a grinder. He will put you through your fucking paces for the entirety of that fight. And being is that this is another 25-minute fight, I don't see this fight going very much different than the fight versus O'Malley. I think there's a couple moments due to his accredited ability in striking that Umar will make it interesting. He's not going to get rolled over, but I don't think this is going to be very fun. I think this is going to be moments of watching Umar try and figure things out and then Merab putting him back down to the canvas or spend that entire round trying. I think we're going to see a lot of crotch sniffing. And I think at the end of the night, there's going to be hurt feelings either way. But I think, and still.
That is definitely a way that could play out. It's definitely up there. We're seeing some craziness. Now, that brings the ball back over to Christian here. It looks like got a little bit of a line drive back at you there with the way that was played out by Meaner. With this co-main event, Merab, Umar, who you got? Who's leading the charge? Who's taking that belt back with him? Is it going back to Camp Khabib, or is it staying with Merab?
Part of me is like 50-50 on it, just because I feel like Umar's the one that has the ability to win in a fight sense, like on the feet. He's got the better chance to get a finish either way, whether it be in the grappling or on the feet. But Merab is that machine. He just continues to go, go, go. I think with both of these last couple fights, we'll just see an unbelievable nonstop pace from these guys. And cardio will really show. I feel like Merab will edge it out mainly just because of the experience. All the tough fucking guys that he's had to fight to get his way to the belt. We all know Sean O'Malley's not the greatest of fucking fighters. That had nothing to do with it. That's why he won the fucking title in the first place. I mean, that was the easy one. But the beating Jose Aldo, the likes of Peter Yan, and guys like that on his way up there, fucking Umar's only fought Corey Sandhagen so far. Other than that, he's not fought anybody special or talented, well rounded at all. It's going to be a hell of a challenge for Umar, even if that kid is extremely talented, part of the Nurmagomedov family, undefeated, all that shit. It's going to be an exciting fight, but I feel like Umar edges it out. I am slightly worried to hear that his ass is apparently injured, even though he says he's confident, and that won't affect it. But hopefully, that's not just him trying to use it as an excuse if he loses. But I still am on the side of Merab getting the win.
I I'm I'm can understand that too. There is that chance though that we see Umar knock out Merab, but we don't know right now. But the way you guys have kind of laid this out, I'm kind of seeing a pattern here. I kind of like it. I like where that's going. Now, Christian, you know what that means? We're going into round 4. You get first dibs in round 4. Round 4, the main event of the evening, in Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan. A fight we've seen played out once already. And it was a lot closer than people think. With this now being a rematch, both of them taking different routes to getting where they're at, both of them getting much better leaps and bounds. Who do you see taking it, Arman or Islam? And what leads you to that conclusion?
Arman probably the underdog in this one. I feel like he's the one on the card that's got the best chance of getting the victory as an underdog. He's definitely grown a hell of a lot since they first fought. It was his fucking debut when he lost to Islam in the first place. Yeah, I just think Islam's literally one of the best fighters in the world. He's already kind of proven it. Yeah, he did get tested a little bit against Dustin Poirier. But I think it's going to be the same situation as co-main event. Two dudes with incredible cardio and pace. They're going to fucking potentially beat the shit out of each other too, because both of them have some serious ability to actually like fight on the feet. So you might see the nonstop takedowns and grappling, but you might also see quite a bit of the stand up trading back and forth. It's going to be an exciting ass fight. I think Islam edges it out. We might see the finish from either one of them. Might go to a distance. There's so much I don't know, right? There's so many possibilities with this. That's what makes this one fun for me. But I think Islam takes it, continues to add to the legacy, right? Breaks the record for most title defenses at lightweight. Then we'll see what he does from there. Potentially tries to go up weight class like every fucking buddy does nowadays. We'll see how that goes. I think it's going to be one of the best fucking fights we've seen in a while in this weight class. Islam's going to somehow edge it out.
I can see that playing out that way. There's some potential there. Oh, that whole trying to break the record of longest title defense at lightweight, that's a tough task. So hopefully it's not too much on him. Oh, all that. Leader, that swings us back into your court to finish us off in this fourth round here. Who takes this? Islam, Arman, Makhachev, Sarukian? What do you think plays out here? Do we see and new or still and still?
So I think at the end of the night Saturday, we're going to have a duality. In terms of the biggest winner, it will be always, because I sense with Arman's newfound physique, there will be an avalanche of blue water from the ladies in the front row. In terms of belts, though, unpopular opinion, Arman Sarukian is not and has never been that fucking good. Nothing, not a single fucking thing in his entire UFC run has led me to believe that Arman Sarukian can beat Islam Makhachev. The closest he got was with Islam not preparing for him at all, and they went to a decision when they were both still very young in the sport. Yes, that was a couple of years ago. Yes, they have both grown since then. I absolutely agree with that. But there's a term that they use in aquarium world, fish raising. You can only get as big as the tank that you're in. Arman Sarukian has absolutely grown into the slightly bigger tank that he was in when he first started in the UFC. Meanwhile, Islam Makhachev has been backstroking in the fucking ocean and bitch slapping orcas off his fucking yacht for the last 5 years, dyed in the wool, tested every fucking time, harder and harder resume available for everyone to peruse and verify. Yes, they have both grown, but the difference in how much they have grown, I feel will be noticeable when we get here Saturday night, because Arman is better than he was. Islam, I think at this point, might be better than we thought he could be. He is taking the Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov plan and running it through the fucking ceiling. I think Arman is going to come out looking like $1 million for 7-ish minutes. I think when we start getting closer to what would be the end of a normal fight and we start getting closer to championship time, you're going to see the difference, not only in experience, but in fight IQ. And we're going to show that Arman is good, but Islam is still better and still.
Seems to be some common themes running around here with you guys. Are you guys sharing notes or something or what? I'm just saying. Co-main, main, they sound pretty similar.
I thought I had my notes off camera. I hope they did.
Oh, now we're going on to the infamous 5th round, where we generally pick from the board, but we're not going to do that tonight. Fuck your board. Because I have a question that I think needs some answering. And it has to do with a card that comes in July that we don't know yet. International Fight Week. I'm going to tell you the question in just a minute. I'll let you guys stew on that. Meter, since Christian chose last time, do you want to go first or second after I ask the question?
I don't want to interrupt his comfortability, so I'll go first as well.
Okay. So, for round 5, the question that plays into this International Fight Week is, with what we have going on here and the fuckery that we saw last year, do we get an oh my god main event? And if so, what is that oh my god main event? If not, what's the main event you think's going to happen?
So, yes and no. Yes, it will be an oh my god main event, but not for the reason that people think it's going to be. I have 30 million reasons to believe that the fight main eventing International Fight Week this year is going to be John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. And it's going to sell 1.5 million pay-per-views. And everybody's going to be excited. And then they're going to see the difference between putting John Jones against 42-year-old Stipe and John Jones against the future of the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall. I think it's going to be interesting for a little while, but I think Tom's going to send John off into the sunset a very bad way. I think we get the fight. I think it's International Fight Week.
I could definitely see that being the case, especially being as we dealt with ducking for a fucking year and change. And the people have been calling for it, so when's a better time to do it than International Fight Week? That definitely makes sense. All right, Christian. Same question, coming back over to you. For International Fight Week, are we going to get an oh my god fight as the main event? If so, who's it going to be? If not, what is the fight you think it would be?
In all honesty, no, I don't think we're going to get any oh my god fight at all this year for International Fight Week. It feels like they were already trying to set it up. February 1st, we get Izzy versus Imavov as the main event. Week after that, you get Drickus and Sean Strickland too. Sean wins that. Izzy wins the main event. The week before, we're going to get the rematch of Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya, and that'll probably be the main event of International Fight Week. We know Connor ain't fucking coming back. The John Jones thing, I don't give a fuck about. Maybe that winds up being it if they actually pay him the gigantic sack of money and we get him and Aspinall. That's a fight we all want to see. We want to see Aspinall whoop his ass. That's it. I think it's Izzy and Sean Strickland, or potentially Izzy and Drickus Duplessis, or fucking Jones Aspinall. But we're not going to get any oh my god fights. We're not going to get anything special this year. The UFC normally never does anything fun. It was a hell of a surprise that we got what we got for 300 last year. And in all honesty, it wasn't as good as what they continued to hype it up to be. It was a disappointment compared to what it was said it was going to be. So Alex Pereira is probably going to do some cool things again this year, but we're not going to have any crazy, fun super fights. You know, the heavyweight division's fucking logged up. It is what it is. It'll be the same shit we always get with UFC. Some cards will be fucking good. They'll hype a lot of them up to be great. Maybe we get the one actual damn good one out of the year. But yeah, that's how I see it.
I can definitely see that being the fucking case. you guys are throwing two really good fucking stones here on this question because it's been bouncing around in my head. Are they gonna make us wait for Jones and Aspinall till International Fight Week? Or are they praying to God that they can get Jones in twice this year and put off and say, "Oh, see, we told you Aspinall wasn't shit." Because I'm pretty sure that's what Big Daddy Dana is hoping, so he can get his super fight between him and fucking goddamn Pajeda, which I think the actual super fight is Pajeda and Tom Aspinall, but that's just me. But I can definitely see that going the other way though, where we just get a lackluster rematch of Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland, because arguably Sean Strickland beat Dricus du Plessis the first fight. Arguably. It was fucking close. But y'all made it difficult, and I greatly appreciate that. We're gonna crunch some fucking numbers here real quick, so that way we can get everybody on their merry little way. Math is hard when you don't have a fucking pen with you. And I can't just write shit down. Because I didn't have a pen on the desk, because I was fully expecting to be on the card for the pit this week. I was not prepared in that, so we made it work. Notepads are what it is, and oh, it's blurring it out. This is sketchy as shit. This is really fucking sketchy. We're gonna have to post this somewhere, because otherwise, actually, you know what? I'm doing this right now. I'm screenshotting it. The screenshot happened at 10:50 p.m. Central Time. I will send it to the members of this group here at the same fucking time, so that way nobody can say I fucking tried to fuck anybody over. Into our little group chat it goes. I'm not going to hit send on it until I've actually told you the results, though. Just because, well, we don't need that nonsense. That's it. See, this tells you I don't use the group chats very often because I can't fucking find them. All right. So, in a very close edging out, I think Christian takes this. I think he's right. I don't think we see John Jones and fucking Tom Aspinall in International Fight Week. I think it's either going to happen before or after. I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be Sean Strickland and Israel Adesanya as the co-main event or as the main event there that week. But I just have a feeling that they're going to try to force that one out so they can get an extra fight out of the heavyweight king this year. Because, you know, it makes sense. People love to watch heavyweights fight, and that was what made the winning thing. Also, I want to let you know before I send this, you two both lost a point in the first fucking round for not answering the goddamn question, so you both got 9s. Bam. There's the picture proof. As you look and pull it up, you can see it timestamped 10:50. We were at 10:52. I screenshot the timestamp with that on it. You can see the fucking timestamps. There you go. Both got a 9 in the first fucking round because neither one of you answered the goddamn question. Sidestepping bastards. But congratulations, Christian. You got it this week. And it's not that I don't think we couldn't see fucking. I don't think we could have seen that. Also, you guys, I gave you a tie score as well because you guys seem to be cheating off of each other's homework. So you guys got a couple of ties in there, but you know that's on you guys for cheating. But as far as all that goes, though, I could definitely see them pushing Jones and Aspinall out to International Fight Week. I don't think they're going to. I'm thinking they're gonna try to stack that card as much as possible, especially knowing that Cowboy's gonna come back. And then around that time, I think they're gonna use that as a big selling point as the return of the Cowboy, and then stack a bunch of other shit on there. I'm just hoping we don't get shit on as bad as we did last year, where the main event was not the one everybody was fucking asking for. So, but they've had a tendency to do that to us a lot lately, so we'll see. That's kind of why I had to side with Christian on that one. So sorry about your luck meter. I like where your head was at, though. You did try to play to my better intentions. Knowing I want that fight to fucking happen. I know what you were doing, playing those little fucking mind games. To your credit, way to play up the judge, try to butter me up, but it didn't fucking work.
It's not cheating if they don't take a point.
Oh, there were points taken in the first round. You guys got hard warnings without fucking knowing it.
It was good shit. I'm glad I got the fucking win.
Good shit indeed, sir. Good shit indeed. So, with that being said, we are going to call that all for this particular episode. Well played, Christian. Victory is well deserved, sir. We will definitely run that one back again. But that is all we have got for this particular episode. But if you are unaware, just because we're wrapping things up around here does not mean that's the end of the fun, because tomorrow morning and pretty much every Friday, this gentleman, wait, no, he's down there. This gentleman over here and his other half put out their podcast, the Slow Bake and Contemplate podcast, over on Spreaker.com. Links to the podcast and their socials, as well as their very own channel over on the I'm No Joe Discord server, all down below. Go click on that shit and tell them how awesome they are.
Appreciate you. The fucking fun never stops. Once we swing back around the next week, you get to the best day of the week, hump day, fucking with Brother Golf T Vape's YouTube channel. You can always catch the Foggy Fairway around the same time, about 9:30 every fucking Wednesday night. If you're into the vapes, you ever want to learn some mixes, recipes, just chill, have a good fucking time, hop in and vibe along with the brother. Check out everything down in the description below. All his links should be there as well.
Thanks, sir. Now, for those of you who weren't in the know, and before I get into this, I want to make this very clear. If International Fight Week comes and Jones and Aspinall happens International Fight Week, I want the commission here to know that we can go back and overturn the ruling on this specific event. Now, if it plays out the other way where that's not the case, Christian is just all out fucking right and automatically deserve the title. But we're just going to put a little asterisk by that just in case, because, we don't know. We're guessing into the future. Unfortunately, we're not in their heads. But now, in the meantime, because we are going to be taking a couple weeks off, you're going to have some downtime. During that downtime, were you aware that the meter does more than one thing? In fact, the meter does many things. And a little birdie told me that there's quite a few new reviews that are upcoming out. So you might want to go down below and click on one of the link trees. It's either the link tree / meter does many things, or link tree / I'm No Joe. It'll take you to all of the many things the meter does do, and you can go check out all that new content that's rolling out. So 2 weeks well spent.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated as always. Yeah, links for everybody's everything are all down below as always, no matter whether you're listening to this, because if you aren't aware, we do the show pretty much every Thursday. There are fights to talk about live over on youtube.com/@ImNoJoe. But if you're unable to catch it live or don't want to watch the replay, I understand. We also own mirrors. So for that very reason, the week after we go live, the podcast gets uploaded in the all audio format to anchor.fm/ImNoJoe. From there, you can pick it up through your podcast consumption platform of choice, Google, Apple, Spotify, you name it. It gets put out everywhere through there. You can catch it the week after it goes live. If you have not yet, I will remind you once again, join the damn Tapology group. You don't even have to tell us who the hell you are. It's just a good damn time, and it's free. You can't beat free. That being said, if you are unable to or just don't want to spend the money to watch the pay-per-view this weekend, don't worry, because every weekend there are fights to talk about, and you see us here on this show. You will also, on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel, there's a little tab now called Shorts. If you follow the I'm No Joe YouTube channel and click on that Shorts tab while the events are going on, if there is a finish that you need to be aware about, I will 100% make sure there is a video telling you at least what the fuck happened and how the fuck we got to that crazy situation. So if you don't want to spend that money on the pay-per-view, you don't have to. We got you covered around here just the same. That being said, that is all we have got for this particular episode. So thank you very much. However you have consumed this, whether you caught this with us live, whether you're catching it on a replay, or you're listening to it a week later, if you enjoy what we get up to, we appreciate you just the same. Please make sure you give us a thumbs up, your notifications are turned on, you are subscribed wherever you are consuming this so that you don't miss an episode. On the opposite side of that coin, if you don't like what we get up to around here, first and foremost, what the fuck are you still doing this deep into a podcast you didn't enjoy? give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. We won't even dispute it. That said, that's all we've got for this episode. We will be off for 2 weeks. We'll be back to talk about UFC Saudi Arabia before the beginning of February. So until then, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.